Hey everybody, this is Michelle.
And this is Julie, and Michelle and I are coming to you from Seattle, Washington, also known as the Emerald City, where we are really excited to have a conversation today about a really fun topic.
Boy, you're just going to dive right in, aren't you?
I am.
Probably because there really hasn't been a lot going on.
It's been, like I just said, a little bit of a mundane week, just kind of, whatever has been going on. Nothing really special.
Kind of vanilla.
Oh God, what an appropriate term.
Vanilla
For our conversation today. It's been a little vanilla, not even gonna lie, but we're gonna spice things up a little bit today with spicy with some talks about good vibrations.
Gotta keep those good vibrations happening.
Okay, here's I don't think of the Beach Boys when I think of good vibrations and sex toys. By the way, that's what we're going to be covering today.
Oh, there's the topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
We bring it up on occasion, and we just kind of thought maybe this would be a good opportunity to chat about it a little bit, because we are definitely not self-proclaimed experts on this topic, but we definitely have input. And coming to you as two mature, lovely women, we thought we would be able to share a little bit of insight on things and hopefully take some of the mystery around this topic away, because it's definitely something people don't like to talk about.
Yeah, and not so much, we're not going to be, just so you know right off the bat, so you don't tune out, we're not going to be sitting here talking about how we use them and why and this, that, and the other. It's just more the misconceptions that surround it and the taboos that are associated with it.
And frankly, there's a lot of, I would say, shame and embarrassment that goes along with it too. So kind of diving right into that and the misconceptions regarding sex and enjoying sex and really the things that you help enhance your sex life have a powerful influence on you and your sexuality. And so even though there's giggles and things that we have about this topic, you'll hear probably us giggling too, to some degree. Hopefully talking about it can reduce some of that shame and some of that guilt and embarrassment that surrounds toys and the act of using them. And we can give you some pointers on, things to look for when you're out gallivanting around, checking things out.
And if you secretly have one, just know you're not alone.
And it's not a secret
anymore.
So I think, first of all, let's talk about the word toys. So people say toys, and when I think of toys, I think of fun, right?
Fun.
People want to play with toys and fun. So when we're looking at these items that are here to enhance your sex life, they're not necessarily there to replace anything, but they're there to enhance. So we're looking at items as maybe more of an accessory.
An accessory.
Yeah. That you can have on your own, or you can have with your partner, or whatever you want.
Yeah.
So let's kind of dial back a little bit, because both of us come from very conservative backgrounds. And so just having this conversation, Michelle and I are looking at each other across the microphones, and she's like, oh shit, what's she going to say? Yeah. Don't worry. Our kids aren't listening. We already figured that out.
Yeah.
Or if they do, they're going to be like, oh my God, that is so cringy. But I don't give a shit. Maybe they just need to listen a little bit more. So when was the first time you ever saw one?
It was probably when I was in my 30s.
Really?
Believe it or not.
I would say me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Late 20s, early 30s, something like that.
Yeah. And I was mortified when I saw it.
You didn't know what it was? Or?
Well, that, and I was just like, what the heck? What do you do with that? What? Yeah.
Okay. So going back to that time frame, I mean, honestly, I don't know that a lot of people really did, or maybe they did, and it was like a completely different world that we weren't involved in, because we just lived a completely different life.
Yeah. I think that's very well said, and exactly what my situation was. Yeah. I mean, in my 30s, I was, I had 3 kids and I was working, getting, all the things with them in school and sports and all the activities. So you get caught up in all of that.
Yep. And kind of exhausted. I'm exhausted just listening to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the same way, and it wasn't something that we ever really even talked about. It was not even a discussion, and certainly not a discussion with my mom or even with my friends. I just don't think it was something that was around back then.
Yeah.
If it was, we just, didn't have a clue about any of it.
I think with that, and I was actually, weirdly enough, talking to somebody today because we were talking about, doing this topic. And they brought up the fact that technology over the years, how much more aware you can be of things. It's this good thing, and it can be really this unfortunate, dare I use the word evil thing, the internet and all the things that are accessible out there. But, our parents or my mom, they didn't, I mean, the way they looked.
We don't know.
Well, I know that's true.
I mean, I'm going to kind of say you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember snooping of course, I was snooping around at Christmas time, looking at the presents, carefully unwrapping them and rewrapping them, and then being really excited on Christmas Day. But in the same time, I was kind of snooping around and everything else. And I found like birth control pills, but I never found anything else. Nothing exciting or that I was curious about.
Yeah. I don't think I would have found anything either.
Yeah.
Really.
So kind of dial forward then. When was the first time you bought one? She's making the face at me again.
The first time I bought one was probably like 7 years ago. Okay. Maybe 8 years ago.
Okay. So not that long ago, really.
So really not that long ago.
Yeah.
Actually, it was about 8 years ago.
Okay. I would say mine's a little bit longer ago than that. But here's the difference. I mean, obviously we're single now, so it's a little bit different now because we just have our own space and everything. But it was not something that I wanted to talk about, and it was not something that I wanted to have displayed or even put in my drawer. I mean, I totally hid it because I was like, I just didn't want it. I didn't want my kids snooping around and finding anything, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which I, maybe would do the same thing again. I'm not really sure, but even having discussions about it was just something I felt really embarrassed about.
Yeah. And to that point, I never even entertained the idea of getting one. It was actually having conversations with some friends, some girlfriends, and they all had them. And they couldn't believe that I didn't. They're like, oh my gosh, you don't have one? Talking about a vibrator.
Yeah.
And
a vibrator. You should have seen her face just change when she said that. That's so funny.
And they were like, oh my gosh, Michelle, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do just fine.
Well, and honestly, it's like even other conversations we've had with our girlfriends, it's like there are a lot of misconceptions and misnomers. Misnomers.
Who's misnomer?
Who's misnomer? Misconceptions about things that we want to try to clear up a little bit today. Yeah. But even women our own age definitely don't have a clue, about some of the misconceptions and such. And so they haven't asked because they don't want to go. They're embarrassed or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I would say I was probably in my 30s, maybe mid 30s, something like that. And when all of that was going on, but I really did not share any of that information with anybody because I was just like, oh my God, I felt like I needed to go to like the store on First Ave and be there with all the perverts or something.
Right. I think because there's that for us, have it coming from our conservative backgrounds and, that whole lifestyle, it's such a hush thing. And, to talk about sex.
I know, but Mormons have so many kids. So do Catholics. So
here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, all you have that in your mind. And so anything associated with it just seems naughty.
Yes. Yeah.
And judgy.
Very judgy.
And
judgy.
Not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it was for me anyways.
Yeah. I would say kind of the same thing for me. It was definitely not something I was going to, I didn't even really know about that kind of stuff when I was younger, but
me
then
neither.
Getting into my 30s or whatever, it was just like, you just went through life and didn't really think about it. And honestly, life got busy. And so a lot of the things that you want to do kind of got put on the back burner. This was probably one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the misconceptions a little bit. One of the things that I when was doing some research on this topic and wanted to really get some clarity on what misconceptions are out there. There's ones that obviously I know, but there's actually a lot more than I had even realized. Maybe because I haven't had a ton of conversations around this, but maybe if I do, then I'll have more insight. But one of the things, and this actually came from one of our friends, I noticed that when we were having a conversation, she was like, well, what do I need a vibrator for? I've got my man. I don't need a vibrator. And I'm like, dude, it's like, he's definitely a part of this, but he doesn't have to be the main contributor to your pleasure.
Right.
Or he can be this can be an enhancement to whatever you're doing with the two of you if you choose to. But I think that came from a conversation that he had with her about not understanding why she would need something like that because she had him, which to me seems like kind of an egotistical thing to say. And with this particular individual, perhaps that doesn't really surprise me. The guy doesn't really surprise me too much, but that is definitely one of the things that's out there, is that if you have a partner, it's just not necessary.
And that could go either way,
right?
The guy, for the guy or the girl.
Yeah. And with guys, guys using sex toys of any kind, people have this misconception that they're going to be gay or bisexual, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Really?
Yeah. I never would have thought that. Maybe, that's just out there. I didn't know that.
Here's the thing. I think self-exploration helps you to identify, what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Was that an appropriate way to say things?
Are you being appropriate right now?
So self-exploration can help you realize what makes you feel good. And when you know how to make that happen, if you are in a relationship, it's going to help you be able to, share that with your partner.
Right.
And, be able to reciprocate.
Yeah.
Both ways.
No, that's very true.
Yeah.
I think that, again, it's not something necessarily that couples talk about, but ones that are really comfortable with their sexuality. And I think it really kind of boils down to some of the things we talked about with the when we were talking about intimacy last week, that you have that trust with that person. That person's not going to judge you. That they're into kind of trying fun, different things with you because they're your person. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that definitely brings people closer together.
Sure.
Anyway, that's kind of one of the misconceptions that's out there. The other one is that sex toys are only for single people, well, which seems kind of odd to me, because I think that it's something that if you're really into it, why does it have to be only if you're single? So,
yeah. I get why people might think that, if you're not in a relationship or in a sexual relationship with another person, then of course they're going to need that. And so therefore single, I can understand where that misconception comes from.
Yeah.
But it's really just that, a misconception.
Yeah, I think it is too. And again, a lot of couples I think are kind of into them. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all, but definitely single people, if you're any kind of sexual at all and you're not in a relationship, you might have your friends with benefits, you might have other, individuals in your life here and there. But like Michelle said to me one time, nobody does it as good as I do.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I did say that.
You did say that.
Nobody does it better.
There's that giggling. Okay, here's another one. This was one that I had actually kind of thought myself, that vibrating toys desensitize you. Like if you use a vibrating toy, you're not going to have an orgasm normally.
Yeah, not true.
Naturally, I should say.
Not true.
Not true at all. Mm-mm. Yeah, because your body's pretty resilient. It kind of goes back to where it is. I think the difference might be that you become used to the feeling of having an orgasm. And so maybe it takes longer to have one. And I think more with women, we just take a lot longer to warm up anyway.
Yeah.
That's what foreplay is for, guys. Foreplay. That's what that's foreplay is for.
Warm up the vehicle.
Warm up the vehicle. Yeah. So that's one of the misconceptions there.
Much more pleasurable ride.
Yeah. There's one statistic that I had pulled out that I wrote down here that I thought was so interesting. And that is that only 30% of women experience an orgasm with intercourse.
Actually, when I was looking at a few things and I saw that and I was like, that's so sad.
Well, it's just that we we just need more. It kind of goes back to the foreplay. It goes back to our bodies need more to kind of warm up. And frankly, it's like, I'm not into that wham bam, thank you, ma'am, roll over and have a good night thing.
Yeah. I think too, though, in regard to what we're talking about and that self-exploration,
right,
will assist in knowing how to accomplish that.
Yeah. And what you like and what you don't like and that sort of thing. And that's okay. I think with women too, we have had, or at least I know I have had lack of comfort in saying, this is what I want. Until I got older. And I was just like, then I didn't have any problem saying, this is what I want or do this or whatever. Whereas before I never would. I'd be just like, I guess that's the way, it's supposed to be. So it all kind of goes, I think, hand in hand, but definitely something to think about. Women need sometimes a little bit more.
This is why I'm hot. I don't know why all these songs.
Why are all these songs coming to your head?
I don't know.
Okay, so another one was that only couples with trouble in the bedroom use toys.
Yeah,
which I think is so odd because I'm thinking couples that use toys are more creative. They're probably more adventurous.
Well, I think in regard to that statistic or that statement, couples that are having trouble, they probably are. I mean, there are those couples that are having maybe problems in the bedroom and things aren't quite the way they should be or need to be or the way they used to be.
Right.
And so they're looking for ways to kind of spice it up because if they haven't used them before, they're trying to find something to enhance what hasn't been happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's definitely, it's definitely something, ladies and gentlemen out there, to explore, to make things a little more interesting. And, honestly, it's kind of like you want to have fun, right?
Yeah.
It's the intimacy part of it's obviously really important, but just having fun with your person is pretty fun. So yeah, I think that'd be a great way to do it. So let's talk about the visits to the toy store. So do you remember the first time you went in? And were you feeling like, please don't notice me?
Yeah, I was kind of, it's interesting though, when you think about this, it's really just like anybody that shops that's uncomfortable. So like, do you remember working at Nordstrom? Obviously.
They didn't sell toys there.
They didn't sell toys there, but there were women, like I was in the cosmetic department. Women were very uncomfortable and intimidated walking into that department.
Because they didn't know exactly.
Because they don't know exactly what they should be doing or what they want or how to, what the look is that they're, and, there's all these beautiful women and the experts. And, really once you get somebody in the chair and make them comfortable and, they start and then they ease up and they're way more comfortable. Same thing going into a lover's package or whatever store it might be, you're not sure what you're looking for.
Well, and that's the thing. There's so many different options.
And just like in retail, you'll hear, oh, I'm just looking. Yeah. Because they just want to be left alone and they don't want to be made to feel stupid. They just want to figure it out themselves. Right. Same kind of thing. But I ended up needing help.
I actually brought my friend Shauna with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. She came with me one time and she obviously had been in there several times and she was not uncomfortable at all. But I was so uncomfortable. I was just like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what's over here. And the funny thing is the people that are working there, they're totally used to that.
Oh, for sure.
And they're very knowledgeable.
Super friendly. They know you're they can tell if you're,
So that's kind of something to remember in terms of going into a toy, I don't know, you call it a toy store. Like a toy store, not Toys R Us, like Lover's Package or one of those places, is that they already kind of anticipate that people when they come in are going to be kind of uncomfortable. Or, I mentioned earlier about that like nervous giggling or not really knowing what they're looking at or what they want, or even being able to articulate what they want because they are embarrassed. And so I finally just said, okay, I have no clue what I'm doing. Kind of the first time I went into a dispensary. That's another topic, but I went in there to get something for someone else, just for the record. But I walk in and I was kind of intimidated because I was like, oh, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Yeah. I'm total green at this, whatever. And
no pun intended.
Yeah. But they were so nice and they dealt with that stuff all the time. They were probably all stoned. That was probably part of it. Yeah. But anyway, it was kind of the same sort of experience. And I can liken this to kind of an analogy. I was thinking of before we were recording. Have you ever been to a nude beach?
I haven't.
Me either. I've been close to them, but I've never been on one. So let's just say that we're going to Golden Gardens is now a nude beach.
Okay.
It's not, but I'm just saying
everybody in Seattle, it's not.
It's not. So don't start going down there. But you show up at the nude beach and you're wearing clothes. Obviously, you're going to stand out.
Right.
Right. You feel uncomfortable because you're at a nude beach, but you are probably more uncomfortable because you have the clothes on. So let's take that same analogy now, place it in the toy store. You walk in and you are walking around, you don't want any help and you feel uncomfortable and you don't know what to pick up, blah, 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 blah. You're the one that's feeling uncomfortable and like you stand out when sometimes it might be just a matter of going up to the person and just saying, hey, I have no clue what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And can you help me?
Yeah. That's what they're there for. They're, like you said, they're used to that.
Oh, yeah. And they explain things in so much detail. And you're like, damn, girl, no, she knows her shit. She knows her products.
Yeah.
So anyway, going and buying, you can also buy online, of course, but I think that going into the store is kind of helpful because you have an idea of what you're looking at and can ask questions and things like that.
Yeah.
If you're too mortified to do that, you can always buy whatever you want online.
Find a friend. Phone a friend to go with you.
Make a friend. Yeah, like I made my friend Shauna go with me. Yeah. When I very first went. So anyway, so that is one thing I think you can do is just put it out there. You know, don't you wish we were still wearing masks like with COVID, because then it would be even easier. Because you could go in there and have your whole face covered, wear a baseball hat, no one even know who you are.
No one would know. But here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing about those scenarios where if you're going somewhere and you don't want somebody to know, if you run into somebody you know, they are there too.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter.
You can shop together.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so the other little item here I had was, what else did I have? Oh, so all of you out there who are going to be so liberated after you listen to this episode and feel like I am a woman or a man and I can go do whatever I want and I'm not going to get embarrassed and I'm going to figure out what makes me tick and I'm going to enjoy it and my partner's going to love it. See all these really good affirmations that I'm putting out there.
Yeah.
You'll understand that really what it shows is that you kind of value your pleasure. You value your partner's pleasure if that's the circumstances. And you are okay with experimenting and having fun and enjoying yourself. And I think as we get kind of into our 50s or we get into our latter years, I should say, we have many more to go, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People just kind of figured that that's just not even okay. It's not okay anymore. It's just not important anymore. It's just not worth the energy anymore.
Total opposite. Okay. Everyone's in their own place. Let me just say that. So, but it doesn't have to be that way.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does not have to be that way. And I think you could, if you've been married for 25 years or whatever, shake it up and shake up the sheets, shake it up and surprise your person, and say, hey, look what I brought home and just see what happens. You've got to be a little bit brave.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. And I think the bravery and the, being embarrassed and all of that really kind of dials back to the judgments that you were talking about earlier. And, the way people are going to look at you or they're going to talk about you or, whatever the case may be. I mean, we're grown ass people that really shouldn't matter.
Right.
And if it does matter, it really isn't on you. It's really on those people.
Well, and the thing too is in scenarios like this with sex toys and intimate things that you are doing in a relationship or with yourself, whatever it might be, those are the things that stay in that relationship and stay with yourself. Yep. When you get with your girlfriends, you're going to be talking about this stuff. That's how I first, knew that I should probably go try this amazing thing that my girlfriend said I didn't want to live without, but yeah, it's again, that self-exploration and finding things that make you feel good, that will expand, not only with your own pleasure, but with your partner. And those things, when women orgasm, it makes you it like releases all these endorphins in your body, and it's a good thing.
You can conquer the world.
Oh yeah, you can do lots of things.
I thought you were just going to say you can do laundry. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Well, you could.
I guess you could do laundry.
You could do laundry.
I was like, wow, Michelle, that's kind of basic vanilla. Really? You want to do laundry? Nah. Michelle, you crack me up.
I mean, anyway.
But you're right. I mean, it's kind of something where I don't know, you sleep really well.
You sleep well. It's good for your body. It's not a bad thing. And yeah.
Yeah. So self-exploration, aka masturbation. I really don't like that word. It sounds kind of weird, but I don't really love that word.
Self-exploration.
Let's just call it what it is. That's what it is.
Well, it's self-exploration. We don't have to call it the other word.
Why?
Because I don't like it.
Michelle, say it right now. You got to say it. Say it, Michelle. You can do it. Oh my God. You're cracking me up. Okay, we'll come back to it. Maybe she'll say it later. She's laughing way too hard right now. These are like the really uncomfortable giggles that we were talking about earlier. Oh my God. Okay, so this is a short episode. We're going to talk about a little bit in closing, just a few things that will take a little while. So one thing we both wanted to point out was that quality is better than quantity. So
as far as what?
Just the actual devices or toys or whatever it is that you're choosing to use. And there's a ton of different ones. There's not just like vibrators, like traditional vibrators. There's all kinds yeah. There's all kinds of stuff. But quality is better than quantity. So you make sure it has really, it's a quality made product.
Yeah.
They're not cheap. If you get a decent one, it's not going to be inexpensive probably, but you know that it's going to be safe for your body and probably work really effectively, that way.
Yeah.
I really believe you get what you pay for.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true with anything.
Yeah. So in this case, maybe you can find it on sale, but let's just say that, we want to go with quality versus quantity. Obvious, clean after each use.
Oh, yeah.
And there's different types of cleaners that are out there. And there's certain ones for certain types of, I don't want to say finishes. That's not what I'm going to say. For certain and not fabrics, not finishes, but like you might have stainless steel, you might have silicone, whatever materials. Yeah. Thank you. So make sure you get a cleaner that's associated with that or works well with whatever that is. And then, lube is your friend, especially at our age. I think it can be our friend, but there's different kinds of lube. There's some that are more, even oil-based. There's ones that are water-based.
I have to say something about that. You said, especially at our age, honestly, looking back, lube really can be good at any age.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of makes everything slippery. It's fun. Yeah. Totally agree. The more, the better.
Just because you're young, don't think that, I don't need that. You should try it.
Yeah, it's actually better. Again, yet another enhancement.
Yeah.
But anyway, so going back to the lubes, there's different kinds. So just make sure that you pick something that works for you. And there's super cool stuff that like heats up and stuff that gets cold and just, all kinds of fun things.
Tastes good.
Yep. And I think really kind of what it boils down to is that you don't have to try everything and you don't even have to be open to the idea of trying stuff. But that decision really is yours and is one that you can make by being an informed individual. You can decide, to do something or not to do something that are your preferences. But what's most important, and as you're becoming your own person or you're being your own person, whatever age you might be, whatever gender you might be, none of that stuff really matters. You have to make those decisions for yourself and not because society or the myths that are out there tell you can't. Or will, you feel they'll judge you or whatever. It's like your life. You do what works for you and get out there and enjoy yourself.
Just do you, boo.
Just do you, boo. This is kind of a little addition to just do you, boo, for sure.
A little affirmation on that.
Yeah. So anything more you want to say about vibrators, Michelle?
Just go to that store and buy one.
Oh, There's these really cool ones now where they actually can be controlled from your phone.
Really?
Yes. Like your partner can control it from they have like little bullets and stuff like that. They can control it from your phone. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, you got to go check these out. It's a fun place to go for a little field trip.
Like an app? I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
You put an app on your phone?
Yeah.
And you can just like the garage door, I suppose.
Well,
you
maybe
can control the garage door by your phone too.
You can control a lot of things by your phone, but you can also control your little vibrating whatever with your phone.
Like I said, technology, it has brought us a long way.
Yeah, maybe that's why there's so many options out there right now.
Yeah.
You know,
I know they have chargeable ones, so you don't have to rely on batteries all the time.
Yeah, that would be helpful. So anyway, well, I don't have anything more. This was pretty much all I had to share.
Yeah, I'm glad, just to be able to talk about it. Like you said, it is like this big secret kind of a thing. And even truth be told, I was like not sure about doing this episode.
You're kidding. I didn't notice.
Oh yeah. Yes. She notices. She has noticed, but really,
it's
truly,
good for you.
It's good to talk about it. These are all very normal things.
Very natural.
I think you'd be surprised at how many people probably that you don't think have a toy probably have one tucked away in their top drawer.
Or several.
And again, it's just part of your sexuality and being able to feel good, with yourself and with your partner.
And really celebrating the fact that you have sex and enjoy sex. There's nothing wrong with that.
There you go. That's, even having it. This is a good one to be thankful for.
With yourself or with other people?
Or with other people.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is all I have on this topic today. And I think we are going to sign off unless you have anything else, Michelle.
I just want to say thanks everybody for listening and tuning in. And if you have any feedback, give us an email at ablondebrunetteandamic@gmail.com or hit us up on all our social platforms. And now we're out there.
We're going to get all these messages on Instagram about what people's favorite vibrators are now.
Well, let us know.
We'll share with everybody else.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, you guys, have a good one.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.